Welcome to the Mad Singers Management Podcast from madsingers.com, where entrepreneurs and business managers learn and share. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a review.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Mad Singers Management Podcast. Today, I have none other than Kurt Phillip himself. Welcome to the show, Kurt.
What's up, man? It's good to be chatting to you again. It's been a little while.
It have indeed. So for those of you who don't know Kurt, obviously, Kurt, the standard introduction would be amazing.
Sure. Well, for those who haven't seen me around the forums or seen my very aggressive Facebook ads, I'm Kurt Phillip, and I'm the CEO and founder of Convertica, and we do done-for-you conversion rate optimization on affiliate, lead gen, and e-commerce. And we're also branching out into SaaS and those type of businesses too. So we're starting to get into the more corporate-style businesses. But we've been around for a couple of years now, and I'm sure most of you have seen our ads at least.
Excellent. That's good. So obviously, Kurt, this is very much about management. And I want to start out with the first question, basically asking you about your management philosophy, right? So tell me a little bit about how you think about management.
Yeah, sure. I think you've helped a lot with that over the last few years. I mean, a couple of years ago, we brought you on board to help us scale our team. And one thing that I've really started to develop in the last few years is giving especially my managers sort of much more responsibility to be able to make executive decisions. So when it comes to my management philosophy, I'm there to create the vision, create the direction of the company, and be the leader and the sort of to provide direction. But I give almost pure autonomy to my team members to be able to, my managers especially, to be able to build out the team in whatever way they think would be best for the company, as long as it fits in with those goals. So that's sort of my management philosophy behind how I run things.
Excellent. That sounds good. And what do you generally enjoy the most about managing people, if you do enjoy it?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, I've gone from in the last 5 years, gone from having an affiliate business to having a full agency. Now we have 23 staff, so that's pretty much my full job now. Is I'm a people person rather than I'm fully out of the operation. So in terms of what I enjoy most with management, is seeing my team evolve. So it's like, bringing a lot of the people started as pretty low level, either VAs or assistants or lower level staff members, to now, some of my team members being on six figures now. And that's sort of, for me, very fulfilling. And because they provide enough value to be able to be paid that much. So that for me is seeing them evolve and seeing them have mental breakthroughs and seeing them, evolve as managers themselves, and see how much fulfillment it gives them. That's sort of what is most enjoyable for me. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. What's the biggest challenge you feel you've overcome with your company? What's sort of the biggest difficult situation you've been in that you've managed to overcome?
I think the hardest thing for us is we weren't able to supply demand as much as we needed, which is a good problem to have, but it is also a problem when you can't scale quick enough. And I think the biggest thing for us was the higher level management. And this again was a lot to do with you coming in and helping us get our head straight, was sort of getting our management to think like managers or heads of their department, where they're always looking to improve the department and they're always offloading the tasks to the staff members below them so that the team is always evolving. That's probably been the biggest thing for us, because then our company is in this constant stage of evolution, and we're never sort of stagnant. And that for me, especially with the higher level managers, was a huge breakthrough for them, because obviously, as you've said to us before, when you're offloading all your tasks to people below you, you think you're going to be made redundant, because then you're giving your tasks to people below you. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to work on higher level stuff. You're going to get promoted, and you're going to become more valuable to the company. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing for us. And from that, now the second or third level managers now are training and hiring. Whereas before it was only the high level guys. So now our operations partner is now, our operations head of operations is now partner. So he moved up enough where he's on profit share, and he makes a lot of decisions within the company now. And that's been huge for us, where you can get someone that valuable to the company. But it's always at the foundation stems from that constant stage of evolution of people sort of trickling down their tasks to people below them so they can work on higher level problems.
Awesome. How do you identify tomorrow's leaders? So how are you within the company? I mean, both yourself and with your management team, like how do you identify the next leaders within the group?
I mean, I think they self-identify. When you sort of give them concepts or give them ideas on where you want to head, and they sort of are future focused and they make shit happen and they put stuff into action and they follow through with what you've said and they say what they're going to do. There's a bunch of different things, but I think they self-identify very quickly. For instance, when we hire a new staff member, we hire someone on just broad, general, low-level tasks. We don't actually create a position for them. We let them show us what position they will be suited to by how they work. So that's sort of how we find the leaders is we just watch and see how they respond to tasks and see how much sort of energy, focus, sort of how much intention, like how much longer view they have with the company, if they do want to be with the company longer term. And it's all very self-identifying within a very short amount of time. We've just hired someone from the Philippines recently on the customer service side who came in as a lower level staff member, but she's got a kid at home. She's in the Philippines. She's very career focused. She's in her mid-30s. She's, there's a long list of things that would make her suitable to be able to spend the focus and time on bringing them up, where there's been other people where we can tell straight away that their focus is more like they just want to make a few bucks for now, and maybe they're more lifestyle orientated, which is a very big trait with people in Chiang Mai, because I've just been in Chiang Mai doing a bunch of hiring, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just comes down to know what their focus is. But there's definitely been the people in Chiang Mai have definitely been more lifestyle orientated, whereas people in the Philippines, which is why our team is mostly Philippines, has been more longer term focus, which then allows us to be able to groom them better to be higher level staff members.
Excellent. So what do you do specifically to really upskill your managers and make sure that they perform as people managers? I mean, obviously you have learned a lot yourself, but how do you try and hand that down to the managers you have in your business, and how do you try and upskill them?
I think the first thing is to identify what motivates them. So once I can identify what motivates them, then it's just a matter of setting goals, the company goals that are orientated towards those staff members. So I will sit down with them whether it's every quarter or every half, every bi-yearly, and we'll sit down and we'll make sure that, I'll ask them what they want in the next year and where they want to head. And then I'll adjust our company goals to be able to support that, which creates a very, very loyal staff member and very, very loyal team member when they can see their boss actually cares about them and is just not in it for the money sort of thing. So, yeah, I think if that answers your question, that's how we sort of build it into the company. And it creates, like I said, very, very loyal staff members when they know that their boss actually cares about them and isn't just caring about the numbers type of thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. What do you find particularly unique about your management style? I mean, you've obviously seen and a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Like, what do you find very unique about your style compared to most people around you?
So something that's very different to me from a lot of my peers is that I'm pure results orientated. And it can be like that with our business because most clients come on and they're with us for 6 months type of time frame. We have time to be able to be flexible with deliverables. So all I care about with my team members is that they do what they say. Number one, they turn up on time and that they deliver what is required of them. So I don't care too much if, someone turns up late. Actually, I don't even care if someone turns up late. I don't even care what time. We don't even have starting times for staff. Like it's like I've used that sort of Google philosophy where it's always results based, and they work when they want to. Most of my team members have 1 or 2 children, and obviously that's going to have a lot of influence on when they work. But it also has made them want to work more because they can work when they want to work. So they might spend the day with their children and their wife, and then they will do the 8 hours at nighttime when everyone's in bed. And that is, ideal for a lot of people, especially in the Philippines, where they don't get a lot of time to themselves. But then, one of my main operations guy works from, say, 6 p.m. Philippines time until about 2 a.m. in the morning. And that's, it's quieter. There's not a lot of people, the kid's gone to bed and he can really stay focused. That's something that I think's different to a lot of my peers is I really don't care when you work as long as everything gets done. And we have a task management dashboard so I can see when things are getting done, if things are overdue and all that sort of stuff. And everything gets fulfilled. So the style does work and it's definitely part of our culture within Convertica for sure.
Excellent. So, one of the sad truths is that we aren't perfect, so that's important. What are some of the things that you work on, both something personal and also business-wise, that you're currently trying to improve?
It's a good question. I think for me, what I'm trying to improve is not micromanaging so much. So letting my team have more autonomy to be able to do what they need to do and be able to have the flexibility, which I have actually worked on a lot in the last 6 months. So from where I was 6 months ago to where I am now, it has come a long way where I actually don't meddle too much in. It creates more problems if I have input on a campaign, is what I'm trying to say. So like I'll let the team do what they need to do. No one loves a boss that comes in and just interrupts because he's got a big ego. He doesn't actually know what's going on, which I used to do quite often because, at the start I was the man. So then you think, you created the company that you should have executive decision-making process, but that's always the worst. When what's that saying called? When the most senior person in the room always gets the last say. I can't remember what the saying is, but I try to stay. That's something that I try to do is just stay out of it. And my job as CEO is just to be the leader and to be the visionary and work on higher level partnerships. So that's what I should be. I shouldn't be coming in and meddling in other people's departments. So. That's what I'm working on. What was the other question?
So that was personally, and then what about the business then? Like anything in particular you're really wanting to improve in the business itself right now?
I think getting our USP clear and getting our offering clear. So what happened in the last year was I was going to a lot of masterminds and getting a lot of shiny object syndrome and being around a lot of internet marketers that were doing well, but in other ways that we were. For instance, last year I was too focused on doing courses when our main business offering was done for you conversion rate optimization. And I got sidetracked with creating this course, scaling this course, and getting, at the start of the year, I was just like, look, what am I doing? I need to get focused back on what our main offering is, and that is providing conversion rate optimization on scale to a bunch of businesses and making it efficient. And ever since we've switched back to that, the business has gone through the roof. So that for me is been my main focus for the business. Has just been super focused with our offering and making that offering, like delivering on that offering. And the greatest view of that is that we're not getting any refunds. We're getting great results for our clients and we're scaling at the same time. So we know what we know what our offering is. I just need to stay clear on it. And that was probably the biggest at the start of the year, was the biggest change in sort of like vision with the company, because it's trying to do a million things at once. Because the issue is people give their input, and people in your masterminds, people in your peer circle give their input on what you think you should do, but they don't actually know the business, and they don't actually know the business inside out. And I think that was something that I took on too much. Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, I hate it, but focus is key.
Absolutely.
As an entrepreneur, it's a horrible thing to say, but if you want to make stuff happen, focus is key. Right.
And I think there's a lot of other attractive things that a lot of other people spout, like Facebook ads, create a course that's automated, scalable. Then you can scale it with Facebook ads, get your cost per conversion down, and then scale it to the moon. But it doesn't, it's not attractive having real team members and scaling them out. And that's not something attractive. And most people, like when I started this agency, were like, what are you doing, man? Why are you going back into an agency when you've been an affiliate? But do you know what? It's been the most fulfilling thing I've done in my whole career, was building out this team and learning how to work with people again, and scaling it to, now we're working with 50 to 60 clients a month, and like being able to handle that capacity is because we have a team, So sometimes you just have to trust your own vision and not sort of take too much advice from people that don't really understand your business model.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. What do you consider being the biggest risk in your company right now, and how are you trying to mitigate it?
Yeah, so I think we've talked about this before. I think I let my operations partner hire a lot of people within his own peer group. He didn't have a lot of hiring skills originally. He's really good now, but he didn't have a lot of hiring skills originally. So he hired a couple of his siblings and then their friends, and it was a very sort of tight-knit community where if something went wrong, it was posing a lot of risk to the company, in terms of if there was some bad blood or some family feud or something, it could have created a lot of issues. So we've been working since our last meeting in Manila in March, I believe it was. We've been working on hiring people out of that. So everyone we've hired, I think 4 since, have not been part of that core group. And it's been going well. And we've just been trying to diversify the company so that it just brings the risk down a fair bit. Just working on our training. So now that we have one core offering, we can make sure that less mistakes happen, and mistakes are very rare now. So it's very good that we're not trying to do courses and everything, because a lot of mistakes were happening. So now we can just focus on having 3 or 4 safety checks before a campaign goes live, so that, if we're working on an SEO site, we have to be careful. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. We have to make sure that we've got, 3 or 4 safety checks before something goes live, to make sure that we don't get someone's site penalized or something like that. And that's something that we've been working on a lot. So the biggest risks that we saw were, the team being too tight knit, I guess. So we've been working on building that out, and then also just making sure the systems are better off. And those are the 2 main issues we have that we're working on fixing.
Excellent. Well, lots of great information so far. So, lastly, I'm very curious. Any particular type of tips, tricks, either what to do from a management standpoint, or any applications you're using, or any sort of amazing tips that you feel others should know about?
If you've got a service-based offering where you're working with clients, I think that the huge thing for us recently has been we had 2 or 3 developers in house that we were working with, and just developers are developers. They love creating things, but they hate fixing things when they go wrong. It's just built into their psyche. So what we've done recently that's been a huge win is we went on to Upwork, and we hired the best of the best agencies, with 98+% reviews, that have worked 100,000 plus hours, that had a bunch of criteria that made them the cream of the crop, so that whenever we have a task now, we're not limited by bandwidth at all for fulfilling products now. So we have about 5 different agencies on hand that have really good project managers that are already built in to their company, that already have customer service built into their company, that they have, developers for every type of content management system or whatever. And that's been huge for us, which just means we can take on 10 projects at once and our 3 developers won't get backed up. So that's been a huge one for us recently, was just hiring a bunch of different agencies that we can not only trust, obviously we test them out before, we get them on projects, but that's been huge for us, and it's really allowed us to scale to that next level recently when it comes to fulfilling our product, because it is very heavily dev orientated, development orientated on our side. So
interesting. That sounds
good.
Yeah,
that's been good for us, and I mean that can be used for other types of stuff too. I mean, if you do graphic design, if you do web design, if you do just a bunch of different things, you can hire agencies that have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 staff that you can just throw a ton of projects at them. And you can just be the agency that is the front of house, and you do the customer communication, you do the actual fulfilling of the product, but then you actually use these other companies to actually do the actual the service work. So
well, that sounds super interesting. So that's cool. I think that was really good, Kurt. Lots of valuable information. Here in the end, if people are absolutely desperate to get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
I mean, you can find me on Facebook if you want to contact me personally, Kurt Phillip, or you can, if you want to read a bit more about what we do with our Done For You service, you can go to convertica.org, and we have a bunch of different case studies on our blog and a bunch of different, about how our service works and so on there. So you can also find me on LinkedIn, just search for Kurt Phillip too. So always love to chat about everything CRO related.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It's my pleasure, man. Anytime.
Thank you for listening to the Mad Singers Management Podcast. Please leave a review. It means the world to us. You can also learn more about management at madsingers.com.